Hi and welcome. In my last episode, I was talking to you about not having yet decided if I want to go completely with the Fabfilter PRO Q4 and changing my working method because I'm used to with a different one, of course. As I have never invested truly in Fabfilter plugins. I used what I got because I'm always telling to everyone that if you have something, try to work with that one. If it really doesn't work, then search for other plugin that is working for you. But once a plugin, a system is working for you, then yeah, obviously you can change if it really serves you. Like for example, right now, having the opportunity to try out for 30 days the Fabfilter Pro Q, I want to make sure that if, for example, it really helps me a lot, if I'm benefiting a lot, like it saves time for me, then obviously it's something that I I would want to do it, and then I will buy it and I will use it. But I already used on a few compositions of mine. You can see it on the channel. And although it does things that are really, essential and important, finally it doesn't really make as much difference if I'm. But let me just show you what I mean. So here is a composition of mine, and this is so this is the track. Let me just see if I'm recording. Okay, it's good. So this is the composition that I have made recently. I will make you listen just a little bit like this. Different kind of composition. And here I used what I'm using generally, so the composition. So on each track, I'm using the Ozone 10. What I'm loving about the Ozone 10, even though it's a mastering, VST, before I was using the other isotope product for mixing. I don't even know how it called because I got angry as I changed my laptop because I had the before laptop on Intel based CPUs and I changed on the Silicon M CPUs. Unfortunately, a lot of plugins it were not working anymore, or it demanded upgrading. This is something an annoying thing that is happening in software business, is that you have to upgrade. Once you do not upgrade and your system, your DAW is upgrading and you are not upgrading the plugins, the VSTs, it will not work. And not all of the companies are, updating freely the VST plugins. That's so unfortunately with the isotope, I remained only with the Ozone, and this is I'm having it because it was offered by Native Instrument in the complete bundle that I upgraded. So complete, I still upgrading from time to time when I actually really feel that it's time and I have to upgrade it. So having the Ozone 10, it really does the job. Like with this composition, as I told you, for mixing, for EQing, I use the Ozone 10, and although it's it is saying that is for mastering. I mean, if just to debunk that it's not just for mastering, and you can use it for EQing tracks, buses. If you go in the default here, you have instruments and buses, so even they created presets for different instruments or different buses, so right. So it's not just a mastering tool. So I'm using it right now as a EQing tool. Now, what is nice with the iZotope, what's the difference between the Fabfilter PRO Q? So we have the EQ. Now we can argue that what I told you, the problem is I don't have as much bands as I wish I would have. And in the EQ, I don't have directly, the dynamic EQing, spectral EQing and whatnot. But I have here the options to create a chain if I want. So for example, let's take a track. Let's see, this is what is this? Oh, these are the drums, right? Now for the drums, for example, I had the EQ. I established EQing a little bit the track, right? Now let's just start the chain. So I have the possibility here to create my own chain, and this is the beauty of why I like Ozone, because I can do with Ozone everything what I want in the box, in their box. So I have the EQ. I just carved out, taped out the frequencies that I was not as useful and they didn't play important role in the mix, right? Then there were some frequencies that I wanted to control, to have a better control, and dynamic EQ was the best solution. So I applied, you see, listen. Right? So I have a better control over the dynamics, right? It's not even the dynamic EQ. So we have only dynamics, right? And here I can go, if I can do it, separate stage, separate echelons, And then I wanted to control a little bit the stereo image also before going further. So I went with an imager. Here I established 3-4 parts. First, the low part. I wanted to make sure that is in mono. I don't want it low frequencies to go all around the stereo bus, right? So it's complete mono, right? Then I went to the mids from 120 to 1/8 keys, so right. And this one I wanted to make sure that I'm not completely in antiphase, right? And without, let me just, it's like this, right? It's almost mono, and I applied here the stereo. Okay. The same with this one. If we go without, so I wanted to arrange a little bit, right? To make it, so this is the original, right? So I'm really happy with it. Then I wanted to apply just a little bit of, you can say distortion if you want, vintage tape, right? Drive it a little bit, not so much. and then a little bit of exciting. Here I have nothing, I didn't want it. Just a little bit. Here I can even give a little bit, not more. Like this. Yeah, exciter. And then I wanted to bring all together. Sometimes you can compress, sometimes you can work with limiter, and this here I wanted the limiter. Without, it just brings out all, the quiet frequencies at the level of really loud frequencies. So it's really balancing out the entire drum mix, right? Limiting, right? Okay, so I could do this in the box. I mean, here, it's working fine. You can just choose whatever you want. You have the options, you are choosing what you want, and you are putting in the same channel. And always when you are opening the isotope, you have all this at your fingertips. I would have loved if isotope in time would, develop and give even much more options, but already having this is more than enough, really. So you see, it's cool. I have my chain here in the isotope, so I'm not wasting the time searching them, putting them here. So I have only isotope. The same thing with the other one. Here I have a bass. The bass that I have sent it to a bus, and this bus is sidechain. So I have a sidechain bus, because eventually, if there's need, I can send multiple tracks toward that bus if I want to sidechain if it's interfering, for example, with the kick. So this is the bass. With the bass was the same thing. I had a nice EQ. Then again, I wanted the imaging. The imaging was simple. I wanted to put it on the... I tried out different variants, like a little bit of, stereo, but finally I decided with mono. Dynamics again. Here is two parts, so I have on the lower part applied dynamics differentiate from the higher parts, right? And an exciter in the same way, without. It's just a little bit, gives a little bit of harmonics, nothing more. And the same thing here. Here, listen. Gives a little bit harmonics, and then again to give a little bit of balancing and volume, but limiting. Many times I'm using the limiter instead of compressing it, right? I mean, this time don't need an external outside compressor. I'm using the limiter, and this is how I did all. And so this is the nice part with the Ozone. Although I don't have things that I would wish with the Fabfilter, like at the end here I cannot recall all of the Ozones and do it like I could in neutron, but even in the neutron, it's not the same visual thing like you have with the Fabfilter PRO Q4. So, I mean, it has advantages, the Fabfilter PRO Q4, but when doing mixing for me, EQ sometimes just wouldn't be enough, because although I'm careful of the sounds that I'm choosing, many times I need to make that sound a little bit, how to say, maybe leave it clean or a little bit trashy, a little bit dirty. So I need distortion, I need excitement, like harmonics. And with the Ozone, I mean, now it's just natural. I can just go and I know what I want. So if I want a little bit of, harmonics distortion, I have the exciter. If I want, I don't know, if I want some kind of compression, I have the limiter. I want compressor, I can, the dynamic EQ can a little bit act as a compressor. So yeah, I'm used with this one, and for me it's working. Like for this kind of jobs, it's doing the work. Yeah. So yes, this is why, as I'm telling you, I'm still evaluating the Fabfilter PRO Q, and I'm just not convinced that I can ditch the Ozone, for example, for the Fabfilter PRO Q4, because the Fabfilter PRO Q4 doesn't have all these options that I have here. Although it is fun, it is nice, it gives me other options, it changes the workflow. I still like it, the Fabfilter PRO Q4, what it does, but it doesn't gives me all what I need. And until now, Ozone 10, it was giving me this option of being able in the box having all the necessary chain. It was fun. Now, resource flow, maybe, most certainly, the Fabfilter doesn't use it as much resources like CPU and RAM, like Ozone 10 does. But, with these new laptops, if you do not use that much of tracks and instruments, it's okay. Like here, for example, or you have to know how to work. For example, for the drums, these drums are made entirely in contact, and in contact I have only one instance of contact with multiple instruments. So for example, here I have this rhythm, and this is with the 40's very own drums, right? Then I built up, I had the other one. This is Empire Breaks. Let me just, and because and those two are working just nice. And then I have from Action Strikes, this right? So I have only one instance of contact, and I have it on different MIDI tracks. Then and it's just working fine. So I had to apply only add mixing, EQing and mixing all of them together, right? This is without. Yeah, it does the job. It really does the job that I want.